What's up, guys? Steven here. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving. Today I want to talk about the lunacy that's been going on in our country. We all know just a couple days ago, 2 National Guardsmen were shot in D.C. by an illegal immigrant, Afghan refugee that came in under the Biden administration. One of those guardmen, Sarah Breckstrom, has unfortunately succumbed to her injuries and passed away, while the other guardman, Wolf, is still in critical condition and fighting for his life. This on the heels of weeks of Democrat leaders, both in Congress and social media leaders, calling for a revolt from military personnel against Trump's illegal policies.
People in law enforcement, people in uniform military get nervous, get stressed, shoot at American civilians. It is a very stressful situation for these law enforcement.
This administration is pitting our uniformed military
and intelligence community professionals
against American citizens.
Threats to our Constitution aren't just coming from abroad,
but from right here at home.
Our laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
You must refuse illegal orders.
I'll say it again. Donald Trump's mass deportation system makes me think of what a modern-day slave patrol would look like.
Black people, brown people of all stripes, whether you're an Indian American or a Mexican American or whoever you are, go out in your place where you live and get a gun legally, get a license to carry legally. Because when you have people knocking on your door and taking you away without due process as a citizen, isn't that what the Second Amendment was written for?
The ongoing violent actions of the Federal Department of Homeland Security are unacceptable.
It is part of a campaign to create factions within the military to defy Donald Trump and foment civil war or a military coup.
Militarized policing is almost always a disaster. It is also true that the National Guard should not be on the streets of Washington, D.C.
Somehow the democratic will of the people and the judges and laws aren't as legitimate to the Democrats as what they believe is right and wrong. One of those senators even posting a video just an hour ago justifying and continuing the same violent rhetoric.
Let me catch you up on Trump treason and Hexas DOD investigation into me, but not this president. Trump responded that we had committed treason and sedition, and our actions were punishable by death.
So if you're like me and pay any attention to what's going on in the U.S., you are not surprised when 2 National Guardmen were shot for no reason, simply for being there and wearing their uniform. You also weren't surprised when the person screamed Allah Akbar and we found out they were a legal immigrant. All of this violence and all of this death are unfortunate consequences of failed policies that the left has been shoving down your throat. For what end goal, I'm not going to speculate. But the reality is this is happening. There's no amount of twisting and turning the left can do with the facts. There's no amount of blaming and name calling that can take away the reality that people are dying at a staggering rate from people that either shouldn't be here or should be in jail. And if you're not mad now, you will be when it's one of your family members. So Donald Trump put out a tweet last night, a very happy Thanksgiving and salutations to all of our great American citizens and patriots who have been so nice in allowing our country to be divided, disrupted, carved up, murdered, beaten, mugged, and laughed at, along with certain other foolish countries throughout the world for being politically correct and just plain stupid when it comes to immigration. The official United States foreign population now stands at 53 million, most of which are on welfare from failed nations or from prison, mental institutions, gangs, or drug cartels. They and their children are supported through massive payments from patriotic American citizens who, because of their beautiful hearts, do not want to complain or cause trouble in any way, shape, or form. They've put up with what has happened to our country, but it eats them alive inside to do so. A migrant earning $30,000 with a green card will get roughly $50,000 in government benefit for their family. The real migrant population is much higher. This refugee burden is the leading cause of dysfunction in America, something that did not exist before World War II. Failed schools, high crime, urban decay, overgrown hospitals, housing shortages, and large deficits, etc. As an example, hundreds of thousands of refugees from Somalia are completely taking over the once great state of Minnesota. Somali gangs are roving the streets looking for prey as our wonderful people stay locked in their apartments and houses, hoping against hope that they will be left alone. Seriously retarded Governor of Minnesota Tim Walz does nothing either through fear, incompetence, or both, while the worst congressmen and women in our country, Ilhan Omar, always wrapped in her swaddling hijab and who probably came into the USA illegally and that you are not allowed to marry your brother, does nothing but hatefully complain about our country, its constitution, and how badly she is treated, when her place of origin is decadent, backwards, and a crime-ridden nation, which is essentially not even a country for lack of government, military, police, schools, etc. Even as we have progressed technologically, immigrant policy has eroded those gains and living conditions for many. I will permanently pause migration from all third world countries to allow the US system to fully recover, terminate all of the millions of Biden illegal admissions, including those signed by Sleepy Joe's Auto Pen, and anyone who is not a net asset to the United States or is incapable of loving our country, and all federal benefits and subsidies to non-citizens of our country. Denaturalize migrants who undermine domestic tranquility and deport any foreign nationals who is a public charge, security risk, or non-compatible with Western civilization. These goals will be pursued with the aim of achieving a major reduction in illegal and disruptive populations, including those admitted through an organized and illegal auto pen approval process. Only reverse migration can fully cure this situation. Other than that, happy Thanksgiving to all, except those that hate, steal, murder, and destroy everything that America stands for. You won't be here for long. I thought this was a strong and powerful message from Trump. Meanwhile, most of the influencers on the right have been too busy fighting about who likes or hates Israel more, who deserves to have a voice in the conservative movement, etc.
Within our own party, it's like people are trying to become the head, become the leader, become number one in the MAGA movement, where it's like, if you are following conservative politics, I understand having your own brand in your own position. That's your face. And so you're the leader of your own face. However, when it comes to commentating on MAGA as a conservative, in many ways, we are followers first. And we have to be good followers and good listeners because we are following the president. We are following the Trump family, everybody else who is in the Trump cabinet. We are supporters of them. And so I don't appreciate that some people try to make themselves more knowledgeable. They have a better plan. They know better. And we see people like that Somali woman anyway who do stuff like that. Oh, and they just know best. If only they could run the country, everything would be great. We're in the best hands right now. I'll say, are we in good hands? Yes. Donald Trump is the best person for the job. And I believe that he does deserve our utmost support. And I'm not saying that as a Trumper or as a conservative influencer. I'm saying that as just a random average American who began looking at this stuff for the last year. That's what I see. That's what I notice. Donald Trump is the best person for the job, and he chose all of the other best people to run all of the other departments for him. Therefore, there is a level of trust that we have to have in those people instead of constantly trying to call them out. Oh, Kash Patel is using a private jet. No shit. Good. Good for him. Calling out Pete Hegseth for this and this and that. Shut up. He's the Secretary of War. You're a commentator. There needs to be a level of respect for authority in our country, I think, within the right, because that's what's causing us to turn against each other.
And now radical Islam, as it takes over cities in America, and openly shoots National Guards people crying Allahu Akbar, is somehow being seen as an issue of Donald Trump.
Shout out to the patriot who kirked 2 federal agents near the White House. This is exactly how we need to be dealing with violent dictatorships. Embrace our Second Amendment rights. Hopefully they'll think twice about serving this racist administration.
News, National Guard member just got shot today, and that shit it's a good fucking wake up. So now, y'all know your job title is no longer oppressing people. You can get belt to your ass too. It could be you too. So I hope it's harder for you to sleep at night, and I hope you stand on your motherfucking swivel as you refuse to quit serving this motherfucking dictator whose illegal orders to keep you all in D.C. are unconstitutional anyway.
Democratic congressmen have implied over and over that Trump is ordering our military to hurt citizens and do illegal things. They've come out urging military people to not follow Trump's orders when he asks you to do something illegal. They've weaponized the judicial system to try and stop Trump from doing everything that the American people voted him into office to do, somehow claiming that it's more democratic to stop him than allow him to do what he was voted in power to do. And as we have seen time and time again, When the smear tactics fail and the calls for violence don't scare you away, then they actually take violent action. This is gonna keep happening on larger and larger scales. Former President Biden let these people in well knowing that they weren't vetted.
These are some of the folks who've been brought here because they haven't been screened, because you haven't conducted interviews. Don't you think that's a problem?
There are two things that can happen. They can be criminally prosecuted depending on the reason for their violation.
Mr. Secretary, my time's expired. I've got to turn it over to other senators. I just want to say the fact that you are not conducting the most standard interviews for tens of thousands of people brought to this country is astounding to me. And it seems to me you've not learned the most basic lessons that we learned on 9/11 since then. And the security risk is unbelievable. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You are asking me about planes from transit countries, the third countries.
I'm talking about people got on the plane in Kabul airport.
No, I can't speak to that.
Well, that's okay.
That this was a problem, that we brought these people in and did not even attempt to vet them properly.
But the question is not whether we help the Afghan refugees. The question is, first, how do we do it? And second, how do we do it in a way that doesn't destroy our own sovereignty? So let's have an honest question about what exists in Afghanistan. According to Pew, 40% of the people there believe that blowing yourself up, committing a suicide bombing, is an acceptable way to solve a problem. So yes, let's help the Afghans who helped us, but let's ensure that we're properly vetting them so that we don't get a bunch of people who believe they should blow themselves up at a mall because somebody looked at their wife the wrong way. That is not real leadership.
I don't think we should abandon anybody who's been properly vetted and helped us. Do you stand by that?
Well, Margaret, I don't agree that all these immigrants or all these refugees have been properly vetted. In fact, we know that there are cases of people who allegedly were properly vetted and then were literally planning terrorist attacks on our country. That happened during the campaign, if you may remember. So clearly not all of these foreign nationals
but there are
have been properly
30,000
vetted.
people in the pipeline, Afghan refugees.
But my primary concern as the vice president, Margaret, is to look after the American people. And now that we know that we have vetting problems with a lot of these refugee programs, we absolutely cannot unleash thousands of unvetted people into our country.
These people
it's
are
not
vetted.
good.
These people are vetted.
Just like the guy who planned a terrorist attack in Oklahoma a few months ago, he was allegedly properly vetted. And many people in the media and the Democratic Party said that he was properly vetted. Clearly he wasn't. I don't want my children to share a neighborhood with people who are not properly vetted. And because I don't want it for my kids, I'm not going to force any other American citizens' kids to do that either.
No, and that was a very particular case. It wasn't clear if he was radicalized when he got here or while he was living here.
I don't really care, Margaret. I don't want that person in my country, and I think most Americans agree with me.
And let me say one more thing, and it's not about this case, it's about vetting in general. The nonsense that the left gave us with this Operation Welcome Allies. Look, there was no vetting. If you think there was vetting, I have a bridge to sell you.
President Joe Biden's Department of Defense will accept 30,000 Afghan refugees into military installations following the collapse of Kabul. Boom. Political transformation. Let the country crumble. Do you know there's 5 million displaced people in Afghanistan now? This was all intentional. Joe Biden let it fall apart to now say, oh, I'm so sorry. I guarantee you Joe Biden's speech this afternoon will talk about refugee assistance and relocation support. Now, Joe Biden's going to be scrambling to make good on it, and the liberal media will love it. They'll say, oh, yes, okay, now I get it. Joe Biden is now fixing his own problem. Joe Biden is stepping up, and he's allowing a flow of people from the Middle East into America. Thank you, Joe Biden. You're such a hero. You're so benevolent. You're so respectful. You're so compassionate. Do you see what's going on here? What's going on here is Joe Biden wants a couple 100,000 more Ilhan Omars to come into America to change the body politic permanently. We're playing checkers, and they're playing chess.
Now, as we sit here, just a day after Sarah has officially passed away and Wolf is still fighting for his life in critical condition, do we think the left has calmed down? Do we think that their rhetoric has changed, realizing, hey, we might be inciting something here? No. Instead, there's pro-Muslim protests all across the U.S., blocking shoppers on Black Friday, burning American flags, causing all sorts of chaos in our cities, chanting death to America, revolution is here.
And I will die for liberation! I will die for liberation! If I must die, then I will die! If I must die, then I will die!
All while being egged on by the left and our Democratic congressmen. And what are we doing on the right? Well, the biggest influencers are all trying to argue with each other about what Trump needs to do better and why this or that is important. And Marjorie Taylor Greene got shoved out, and that's a good thing or that's a bad thing or this or that. Why aren't we in lockstep like the liberals? As soon as a tragedy happens, they seem to find a way to twist it on why it's Trump's fault, and they all regurgitate the same nonsense. Yet we're sitting here allowing our cities to be taken over, our representatives to be killed, and our citizens to be tortured by repeat multiple-time felons. I thought Charlie Kirk's death would be enough. I thought it would radicalize enough people, make enough people vocal and angry. It sure did for me, but it doesn't seem to. How much more worse does it need to get? Does it need to be your sister that gets the Irina treatment or the Sarah treatment? Does it need to be your favorite influencer that gets the Charlie Kirk treatment? Does it need to be your politician that gets the Donald Trump treatment? When do we stand up against people trying to incite a civil war and insurrection in our country, trying to destroy the greatest country that was ever created? And when do all the influencers on the right actually throw their support behind Donald Trump instead of trying to virtue signal for who's the best right-winger? I don't know. But one thing is true. Sarah's dead, Charlie's dead, Irina's dead, many others, and we're still not angry enough. Let's get back to work, guys. Keep praying. I'll see you in the next one.